The world seems to be turning over a new leaf as the kids of the new generation walk in with talent well beyond what we can comprehend. One of these is none other than 18-year-old Raul Rosas Jr., who's making waves and headlines in the UFC world with his incredible debut performance. We don't know what they're feeding the kid, but he's a powerhouse. Let's get into the details to see what makes him the greatest yet. First off, Dana White surprised by Raul Rosas Jr.'s decision to return to school after UFC debut. Dana White, president of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, recently spoke about his surprise at 18-year-old Raul Rosas Jr.'s decision to return to school after making his UFC debut. Rosas Jr. made history as the youngest fighter to ever compete in the UFC, and his impressive performance in his debut match garnered attention from fans and critics alike. Despite his success in the octagon, Rosas Jr. has made it clear that education is also a priority for him. In an interview with ESPN, Rosas Jr. stated, "I want to prove to people that you can be successful in both fighting and school. It's important to have something to fall back on, and education's crucial for that." Dana White praised Rosas Jr. for his dedication to both his fighting career and his education. He talked about how rare it was to see young athletes prioritizing school, adding how talented of a fighter Rosas is and has a bright future in the UFC. While many young athletes may be tempted to put their education on hold in pursuit of their athletic careers, Rosas Jr. has shown that it's possible to excel in both areas. His decision to return to school after his UFC debut is a reminder that education shouldn't be overlooked, even in the face of success and fame. Up next, Raul Rosas Jr.'s inspirations and motivations behind his career. Raul Rosas Jr. is determined to make a name for himself in the UFC, and his dedication to his studies will likely only serve to further his success in the sport. With his impressive performance in his debut match and his commitment to his education, Rosas Jr. is well on his way to chasing glory in the UFC and beyond. Most kids his age wouldn't be so confident about physically taking down fully grown men, but there doesn't seem to be a nervous bone in his body. It's obvious how passionate he is about the sport, as he talks about how each opportunity to fight only fills him with excitement. There's an obvious talent in the guy, and if you've watched him long enough, you've probably noticed that he gets pretty creative in the ring, usually in ways that stun most people. It's as if Rosas Jr.'s body was made for the art of fighting, and he enjoys every second of it. But where did this passion come from? Rosas Jr. talks about how watching his father fight was what started it all. There's clearly a streak for the sport in the family, and Raul Sr. has been nothing but encouraging about his son's ambitions. Soon enough, everyone knew there was something special about the boy, and there's been no way but up ever since. Now for 18-year-old Rosas Jr. makes history as youngest UFC fighter. Raul Rosas Jr. made history as the youngest fighter to ever compete in the Ultimate Fighting Championship when he stepped into the octagon at the age of 18. His impressive performance in his debut match garnered attention from fans and critics alike and solidified his place in the history books as a young fighter to watch. Rosas Jr.'s journey to the UFC began at a young age, training and competing in various martial arts disciplines. His talent and dedication to the sport eventually caught the attention of the UFC, leading to his opportunity to make his debut in the organization. At just 18 years old, Rosas Jr. faced challenges and obstacles that many older fighters may not have had to deal with. Despite these challenges, he was able to rise to the occasion and put on a strong performance in his debut match. His determination and drive to succeed in the sport were evident to all who watched him, and his future in the UFC looks bright. Coming up, Dana White impressed by Rosas Jr.'s performance in debut match. Many people would find themselves trembling under all the bright lights when they step out in front of a crowd for the very first time. This doesn't get any easier when the performance literally entails physical violence. But where most people would crumble, Rosas Jr. shined in the face of this adversity with steady hands. This didn't go underappreciated by Dana White, who gave major props to Rosas Rosas Jr. for stealing himself well, going as far as to say that the debuting fighter performed much better that night than in his previous outing. White isn't ignorant of the UFC jitters, and he's aware that it doesn't matter how experienced you are in the ring under the eyes of a crowd. Sometimes the sight of a new opponent can throw them off course because there's always the factor of unpredictability. There's the nervousness of not knowing where the next punch will come from, and this can make most fighters lose sight of the real goal: to remain standing despite the hits. A lot of the problems Dana saw coming in Rosas Jr.'s debut surprisingly didn't happen, and it's a testament to the potential he holds to be a fighting prodigy with a very successful career ahead of him. Let's look at Raul Rosas Jr.'s soft side, behind the boxing gloves. Becoming history's youngest fighter to be promoted in the UFC isn't something that happens very often, and Rosas Jr. knew to milk it well. After his first submission win in his debut against Jay Perrin, he deserved the $50K bonus that he asked for from Dana White. What does he plan to do with the money? Joe Rogan's interview with the fighter revealed a much sweeter sentiment. He wants to buy his mom a minivan. There are perks for him as well, as he needs a better ride to the UFC Performance Institute. This wish just might be coming true really soon because White gladly awarded him the bonus. It's not like he would have held it from Rosas Jr., as White revealed that all and any fighter scoring finishes at UFC 282 gets a $50K bonus from the promotion without any hesitancy. In a recent interview with ESPN, the young fighter spoke about his desire to use his success in the UFC to provide for his family, and he mentioned how his mom's support got him as far as it did. He feels it's only right that he gives back to her in some way, and he knows just how much it would mean to her. Through his gesture, he wants to make sure that those looking at him don't forget what matters most. To him, family is everything, and he never fails to talk about the support he's received from the people around him. His willingness to give back to his people's a testament to his amazing character, one that we're hoping to see more of with the new generation of fighters. What's more, Rosas Jr.'s classmates' reaction to his fighting career. Rosas Jr.'s impressive performance in his debut match garnered attention from fans and critics alike, and his classmates were no exception. Many of Rosas Jr.'s classmates were surprised to learn about his fighting career, as he had always been known as a quiet and unassuming student. They had absolutely no idea that Rosas Jr. was a fighter, and many gushed about how it was cool to see him on TV. There's just something about watching people you know making history in front of the world. Others were impressed by Rosas Jr.'s dedication and discipline, both in the octagon and in the classroom. A classmate bears witness to the intense hard work Rosas Jr. puts into both his training and education. We don't know how he does it, but it's nothing short of inspiring. Knowing how hectic schooling can get in this day and age, it's amazing how much focus Rosas Jr. has, and it's something not many people are capable of. While some of Rosas Jr.'s classmates may not have been fans of mixed martial arts before, they have found themselves becoming fans of the young fighter. Most are now eager to tune in to watch and cheer him on, whether it's from behind the TV screen or going to the match to watch from the sidelines. Overall, Rosas Jr.'s classmates have been supportive of his fighting career and proud to see him making a name for himself in the UFC. If anything, they're definitely his first and earliest fans in his career. Finally, the young fighter talks about the sacrifice of being homeschooled. One of the sacrifices that Rosas Jr. made in pursuit of his fighting career was being homeschooled. In a recent interview with ESPN, the young fighter spoke about the challenges and benefits of being homeschooled. Rosas Jr. said that not being able to go to school with his friends definitely impacted his social life by a lot, but he knew it was needed if he wanted to reach the heights he was aiming for. Much of the sacrifice didn't really come from his training itself, but rather from having to move around so much. Traveling so often from state to state took away the opportunities that teenagers often look forward to in high school, like dating, parties, and just plain hanging out with friends at the mall. But in the end, his motto remains: suffer now, enjoy later. His goal is to have enough money to relax and then party as much as he wants. Despite the challenges of being homeschooled, Rosas Jr. found that it allowed him to have a more flexible schedule and to dedicate more time to his training. He's got an admirably clear vision of his dreams, and it's obvious that he won't be slowing down anytime soon to get to where he wants. He announced that he wants to go for records that haven't even been made yet, and as fans of UFC, we can't wait to see where his ambitions take him. And that's a wrap. Do you like what you see? Give us a like and let us know what you think about Rosas Jr.'s career in the comments. If you want more content like this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss out.